I'm giving you 20 tips on how to shoot cinematic video on smartphones, and this is part 2 of a 2-video tutorial. So feel free to watch the first part either before this video or at the end of this video. I'll leave a link in the comments below and also at the end of this video. I'm also giving away a lightweight slider, so if you want to win it, all you need to get right is how many times I say the word amazing throughout this video. You have 2 weeks to get this right. Leave the number in the comments below, and if I'm able to verify you as a subscriber, I'll be more than happy to send this across to you free of charge anywhere in the world. And with that being said, let's get the video going. I'm gonna play you now 2 different sequences and see if you can tell me which one you prefer. You can clearly see how much better the second sequence looks compared to the first one. Honestly, this is not rocket science. We just put a little bit of thought and creativity into it. It's so easy to settle for the easy and lazy work, but if you want your videos to look great and stand out from the average, you're gonna have to put some creativity into it. Contrary to popular belief and what most people might tell you, outdoor daylight is your best friend. The best times are from sunrise to around 11:30 and from 5:30 to sunset. And this is when the sun is low and you can get some really nice images. Just make sure that you position yourself in a slight angle and you don't face the sun, because otherwise the image will look a little bit flat. If you want to know when the sun is too hot, just look at the shadow. If the shadow is going away from you, it means that the sun is low or is getting low, and you can get some really nice lighting. When the sun is too high, between midday and 4 or 5 in the afternoon, you literally have your shadow right under you. And that's just not nice for lighting. Unless you are in a situation, in an environment where you need the light pointing down. Like for instance, if you're filming some waterfalls and you literally need the light to be pointing down the water so that you can get some really nice reflections. Like I said earlier, try to position yourself in an angle and look for that Rembrandt look, which is all about getting a pocket of light in the eye that is in the shade and not directly lit. Another benefit of shooting daylight when the sun is low is that you can have it in the frame and it will look absolutely amazing. Honestly, instead of fighting the sun, try and use it to your advantage, because literally it's free lighting that you get. If after all you still want that soft, diffuse look while still shooting outdoors in daylight, you have 2 options. You can shoot with the sun behind you, and that way your face will be diffused and the lighting will be bouncing around everything around you, or you use a reflector. And if you use a reflector, you'll probably need someone to help you, because if you use a reflector holder, the minimum breeze or wind will bring it down. You just need to make sure that the person helping you angles the diffuser correctly so that you get that soft lighting on your face. This is especially important if you want to shoot between 12 and 4 when the sun is at the highest. So you just simply put a diffusion over your head and you convert the hard light into soft light, and your footage will look absolutely amazing. For handheld filming, I recommend that you use a cage. because it will give you a lot of holding points as well as mounting options. And this is really helpful if you mount a phone on a tripod, because you can mount, for instance, a light or a microphone or pretty much any accessory that you can think of. Radio mics, whatever you can think of, you can mount it onto a cage. It's got loads of threads that you can mount all sorts of accessories on. If this is too much for you, you can go for something even simpler, which is one of these mounts that you can turn sideways or vertical, and it's got a horseshoe mount here, but at least it gives you a holding point. And this is much better than holding the phone on your hands, because when you hold the phone on your hands, you get all these micro vibrations that are really difficult to get rid of. These cages or phone mounts are relatively inexpensive, so if a gimbal is too much for you, this is the best value for money. Most phones these days come with 3 lenses: ultra wide, wide, and telephoto. So they're there for a reason. Use them. Make sure that you plan your scene so that you use 3 focal lengths. Shoot everything on the ultra wide, then on the wide, and then on the telephoto. So that way, when you are in your edit suite, you can create a bit more engaging and dynamic videos than just shooting everything with the same focal length. If you want to add the depth of field, there are tutorials on YouTube about how to go about it, and I recently created one as well, so you get a link appearing just above. But essentially what I'm trying to tell you is that don't be afraid to use different focal lengths. It's the only way to create engaging and dynamic content, and your viewer will really thank you for it. And talking about the phone lenses, whatever brand of phone that you use, they're likely to have one lens as the main lens, and all the other lenses will be of the lower quality. In the 12 Pro Max, for instance, the main wide is far superior than all the other 3 lenses. And all those 4 lenses need a lot of light, but the main wide is by far the better lens. So you might find yourself in a situation where if you want to have those different focal lengths like the telephoto and the ultra wide, but when the sun is going down or there is a bit of a low light, you might have to use a lens adapter. So that way you attach, say, a telephoto or an ultra wide on the actual main lens, which usually is the main wide. And that way you can get those ultra wides or telephoto shots, but looking really good, because the difference between the main lens or the main wide and the other 3 lenses in low light is really noticeable. Try and shoot in a flat color space. Using the 12 Pro Max and Filmic Pro, you can set the camera to record on log 3, and that is a huge difference compared to shooting in any other color space. If you shoot in any of those normal color spaces, there is a lot of information that gets baked in terms of contrast and saturation, and then you have a very limited range of adjustments that you can do in post. By using a flat color space, you capture as much dynamic range as the phone can give you, and then in the grade, you can literally make the footage look absolutely amazing. Just please make sure that you white balance every single shot correctly, because even though you can get away with a lot in post-production, you want to make sure that you start with the best possible image from the start. Footage from smartphones tends to be way over sharpened, and this is something that I really hate, and it's so freaking annoying. In Android, you might get more options to access unsharpened tools, but on an iPhone, you're pretty much stuck. High-end cameras have this really nice soft look that obviously you don't get on digital phones, and it's a massive giveaway that footage was shot on a lower-end camera. If you want to unsharpen the footage, you'll have to either do it digitally in post or using filters. If you set your camera to run on auto, this effect is made even worse for the simple fact that having a high shutter will mean that everything is super sharp. So my advice is that you consider using a diffusion filter, which is something that has been used on high-end cameras in productions since the beginning of time. And using a diffusion filter means that the footage that you get is nowhere near sharp, and it will look really nice.
So this is hopefully diffusion and easy to spot, and you can tell the difference when I remove the filter. So this is the same frame, but no diffusion, just ND filter. And hopefully you can tell the difference.
Make sure that you get well recorded sound. This is so important. People overlook sound so often, it's like an afterthought, and then they realize when they're in post that the footage look absolute garbage. Because people will watch bad footage if it sounds good, but they will turn away quicker than you say hello from footage that looks amazing but sounds bad. Honestly, the best thing that you can do is make sure that you record consistently good sound. You have a range of microphones that you can choose from, but please don't rely on the microphones on the phones because they're absolute crap. They're not designed for recording sound for video. Use a lapel mic if you are talking to camera, or if you have a couple of people talking to camera. You can use wireless microphones, you can use shotguns, you can do a whole range of microphones. Make sure that you record good sound. You can tell within 2 seconds or 3 seconds if a video is good or bad by simply listening to the sound. If you're on your own and you have no way of monitoring sound, use a small recorder like the Zoom H1N. It will give you a lot of flexibility and really good sound. If you have someone on location that can record sound and monitor sound, trust me, you've gone a long way to make sure that your production looks great. Because a video is half the image and the other half sound. So by neglecting the sound, you're literally neglecting the entire production. So yes, sound is mega important. One of the best things that you can do to make sure that your footage looks really nice and cinematic is the use of lights. And you don't really need to spend a huge amount of money, just some basic lighting setup will go a long way to make sure that you get really nice looking footage. Think about 3-point lighting, which is the most basic lighting setup to slide the scene, and it will go a long way on making sure that your footage looks fantastic. Trust me on this, having good lighting will be the difference between something looking okay to something looking amazing. Music is essential to set the mood, the pace, and the overall feel of your video. Don't disregard this. Spend time choosing the right music that matches the action or whatever it is that you're trying to say. Go through libraries, copyright-free music, whatever it is that you do, just make sure that you put good quality music, because it will be the difference between your video sounding amazing to just sounding average. There are a lot of libraries that they cost very, very little to join. You go for copyright-free music that you can find on YouTube and online. Trust me on this, spend a little bit of time choosing the right music. Make sure that you're happy with it, that matches the look, feel, and style of your video, and it will be a massive asset for your video. Essentially, what it comes down is to be a little bit creative. Don't just go for the easy way out. Try different angles, odd angles, weird angles. Usually the coolest and most memorable shots and videos are the ones that have these weird and quirky shots. Simply because someone took the time, the effort, and dedication to do something different. What I'm trying to say here is that trying to be a little bit creative goes a long way. I hope you like the tips that I've given you in this video and they inspire you to create better and more cinematic content. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Even better, smash that like button. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you like this content and you want to see more in the future, consider subscribing. It's nice to see the numbers going up. At the end of this video, I'll leave a couple of other videos that I think will be of interest to you. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next video.